was
You're going to have to be louder or the camera's not going to pick it up.
Okay.
All right.
So I'm here to inform you guys.
I'm going to let you start over again. You want to start with the attention device, not what I'm here to inform you about.
Oh, okay.
Whatever you think an attention device, so I'll let you try it one more time.
Okay. My name is Rebecca Velasquez, and every morning we wake up to follow our certain routine for a specific day, and we don't stress. Like, we all stress about different things, but we don't stress about being separated from our families or being deported to our countries, whether it's from Ecuador, Spain, Greece, China, India, wherever you guys are from. How many of you have heard of the recently passed immigration law in Alabama? It is said in several newspapers, such as the New York Times and the World News, that it is to be the harshest immigration law passed since the Arizona state law. I am here to inform you guys what the law is, what it is purpose, and what has happened since the law was passed. So the law is that police have the right to stop anyone that they believe to be immigrants and to ask them for their papers. And if they don't, then they take them right away to the immigration. Okay. And then also, immigrants cannot drive or take any public transportation to work or to school. And for homeowners and school admissions, they have to check the immigration statuses before accepting them or allowing them to rise. The purpose of this law is to regulate the amount of immigrants coming in and out of the state. Also, the immigration is defined as an alien, which is someone that is not born here. Also, the purpose of the law is so that there is no surpass of the workers, also preventing potential enemies entering the United States, to protect the U.S. from dangerous immigrants, and as well as to protect the U.S. from dangerous potential health problems. And I'd also like to tell you guys a little bit of how these laws came to be. Okay, so in the 1952, INA was passed. INA, which means Immigration and Nationality Act, was passed and was codified under Title 8 of the U.S. Code. It was also it's also the frameworks of any current immigration law. The other one was the IRCA, Immigrants Reform and Control Act. That is the law that doesn't allow immigrants to have that much work. It gives them, it balances that out so they can't. And Anti-Terrorism and Effective Death Penalty Act was amended in 2005 under the Title V. And then the other one was the Violent Crime Control and Law Enforcement Act, which was passed in 1994 and amended in 2000. So that is how this law happened. That's where it got all its ideas from, and that's how they just combined it to become this new law in Alabama. Now, what had happened since the law was passed is that many schools were empty compared to what they used to. They said that over hundreds of thousands of students has just gone. They haven't come into class anymore. They don't come in anymore. Many protests has occurred, and if I had my PowerPoint, you would see it, but I had some technical difficulties with that. But businesses lost many workers. Businesses lost many workers homeowners lost many of their clients, people that lived in there. They were all gone. They just picked up and disappeared. Within a couple of hours of this law being passed, over hundreds of thousands of immigrants have just disappeared, vanished. As in, vanish was the word that one of these articles used, which is the article's name is "The Grim Reality of Life Under Alabama's Brutal Immigration Law." And that was in the world news. I interviewed someone that owns a complex full of apartments in Alabama, and because I wanted to understand how they felt, what was going on with them. And what they told me was that, we wanted to give everyone an opportunity to have a home, just to, they work, yes, okay, fine. You can live here as long as you pay my bills, it's okay. But as soon as this law passed, they lost over 50 apartments, they lost over 50 apartments, because that same day, that same night that they found out, that the immigrants found out that the law was passed, they were out, they left, they just disappeared. So I asked further and I was like, okay, how were you affected by it? And then they said they were affected horribly because, losing 50 apartments is really bad. And right there they said that they had to go try out different things. They had to put out in many newspapers, especially they emphasis in the Spanish community, and newspapers saying, and even they did it in New York, that they're doing job opportunities with a free yeah, just to get everyone to see if they have any problems in New York, that they can try something else new in Alabama and have a new beginning. Yeah.
So that was a little long, 7.5 minutes.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, mainly because you didn't rehearse it. And in fact, if you had, and this is true about anyone, if you had rehearsed it, that stuff where you had problems finding the words, you would have figured it out. Mm-hmm. And you would have wrote them down, and that they would have gotten you through those moments. Mm-hmm. You would when you're calm, you go, okay, what word do I need? And you would have wrote it down. And then you would have gotten through those points. But since you didn't rehearse it, and this is the first time you actually spoke the speech, this was mainly your first rehearsal. And you don't want to rehearse in front of a group of people. You want to do that alone, by yourself, at home. If I had a speech like this, I would never ever get in front of the people without having gone through it. And my wife, who called me earlier, she's the one who's always on me. She says, okay, you've got a presentation, let me hear it. I said, not now, no, let me hear it. And she forces me, and then I start rehearsing. So you need someone, and if it has to be yourself, to say, well, I got to practice this. And then you figure out what's wrong. Then you fix it. So now you've done it, and you have a good idea of what you need to do to fix it.